And welcome back everyone to our channel, Life Uninterrupted. I'm Shauna.
And I am Brian.
And we're here in Charleston, South Carolina.
Super hot and humid. I think it's one of the hottest days of the year today, 91 and like 80% humidity.
I think it's cooler in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Yeah, not complaining. Just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So today we are going to do a 100-mile update on our Lectric XP e-bikes.
Can you believe we've already put 100 miles on these puppies?
It's actually pretty easy. In our case, I think we've kind of worked through all of our likes, our dislikes, any of the problems that might have cropped up, I think have already cropped up, and then some upgrades we've made to the bikes and the riding experience for us that just kind of makes riding these particular bikes a little more enjoyable.
Right, and we've learned a lot. We've engaged in quite a few forums as well.
As many of you know, there are a ton of reviews on this particular bike. The popularity of these things has just really blown up.
Wow, it sure has.
You know, it's partly due to price point, feature set, and you know, the quality of the bikes, which we'll get into in a minute. So let's kind of talk about some of those things that we like, some of the things that we don't like so much about the bike that maybe could be made, maybe future improvements can be made on new releases of the bike or new updates to the bike or something like that.
And before we get into that, let's also express that we have taken these bikes over all different types of terrain, whether that be pavement, gravel, sand, some rock. We've gone up steep inclines, we've gone downhill pretty quickly. Or we have on the bikes and down pretty quickly, but all different types of terrain to give it the best review possible that we can. And
something that we won't mention here are 2 accidents that Shauna has had on the bike.
Totally my fault. Totally my fault, yes.
One of which, this is funny, one of which she actually came out of both of her shoes.
I have no idea how. And too bad we didn't get that on video, right?
Yeah, that would have been went viral, I think.
I think so.
Some people walking behind us on the sidewalk got a little chuckle out of it, but
how do you come out of both of your shoes? I have no idea. Totally unhurt. I was just fine. Ego was bruised.
Bike was unscathed. A little scratch on one of the pedals, but other than that, the handle, it was just fine.
Again, totally my fault.
Yeah. So let's talk about likes. You see a lot of reviews online about the speed of the bike, and certainly that is a like of ours. Even at 20 miles an hour, is really enjoyable. Once you unlock the 28 mile per hour feature on the bike, things get obviously more exciting.
Well, they sure do.
And you really do clip along.
They really take off.
Yeah, like last night we drove around at nighttime through downtown Charleston.
Right.
And there were enough cars around, but it's a very bike cautious city anyway, so they're used to seeing bikes around, bike friendly. So we didn't feel unsafe. We had lights, of course, and our helmets, which we'll talk about in a minute. We got some really nice cool new helmets. We'll share those with you. So as far as range goes, we get a lot of questions on this.
It really depends on how much you're using the pedal assist, how long you're using it, and the distance to determine how much you're going to get out of the battery.
We primarily use pedal assist 1 and 2. Occasionally we'll use 3, 4, 5 for very limited kind of short bursts.
Mainly uphill, where we've had some steep inclines.
Yeah, a lot of hill, because that really helps. And then in gear 1 and then in pedal assist 5, you can just kind of just truck up some really steep hills. The performance, and again, speed and performance, or speed and range kind of equal performance in my mind, so they perform well. I mean, I don't have any issues. Turning, a lot of people ask too, how do you turn? Do you feel like you're going to tip over when you turn? Not at all. I get these things kind of crazy. Shauna knows I get probably a little more daring.
You can do a tight turn.
Yeah, you can
You definitely can do a tight turn. Be careful though.
That being said, you don't want to do that turn under power. You want to be careful with that, because it does feel a little squirrely at that point. If you're trying to make a turn and you're on the throttle or you're pedaling through it, that can get a little dicey. So just be cognizant of that. But other than that, performance of the bike, the way it rides, the way it feels, certainly sturdy.
Very sturdy. Yeah, it's great.
Feels good.
So A+ for performance.
Transportability. So transportability in our case means we have to fold the bikes up every time we want to go someplace, stuff them in the Jeep. When we get there, unfold them. So it's a little bit more labor intensive for us, but not huge for me, I should say.
And it's one of the main reasons that we've got this particular bike, because it is foldable and will fit into our Jeep versus putting it on a bike rack.
Right. I just didn't want another piece of equipment to have to go on the back of the Jeep or on the motorhome or whatever. So we just elected to go with folding them. One folds up and goes in the cargo bay of the Jeep. The other folds up and goes in the back seat of the Jeep. Strap them down and they're just fine. So for people with bike racks, we'll put a link to a really good bike rack in the description of this video. I know it's in the first video as well. But a lot of people rave about it, and it's just a great option if you don't want to continually fold and unfold the bike when you go someplace.
Because we live full-time in our RV, we do move around quite often. We're in different places quite often, and we want to go out and explore, so they're going in and out and in and out of our Jeep quite a bit.
So, that will, whether that folding and unfolding will stand the test of time, who knows? I suspect it will. I mean, all the mechanisms that go into the folding, the hinging and stuff like that seem to be pretty robust. So I don't foresee any problems.
Yeah. Something that happens to us just about everywhere we go with these bikes is they get a lot of attention. We get stopped all the time, and the number one question is,
are they electric? And of course our answer is yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I don't know why we're laughing about that, but that is the number one question.
Well, people see Lectric, emblazoned on the side, and they guess they just think that's a brand, which it is obviously, but some people don't put two and two together and think that it's an actual electric bike.
Yeah.
Second biggest question we get.
How fast do they go? We'll get how fast do they go?
How fast do they go?
And how far?
Yeah,
how far can you go?
Yeah. So how fast, how far, and those are mainly questions that we get in the comment section of the videos. But yeah, by far the number one question is, are they electric?
People will stop and they'll admire them, they'll ask questions. We were in a restaurant last night and the bikes were locked up outside of the window where we were actually sitting, and people were walking by taking pictures. They draw a lot of attention everywhere we go, which is great, and we love talking about them. Brian loves to give demonstrations on how they fold up.
I do that quite regularly, and a lot of comments we get too are the colors. People like the colors of the bikes.
They do, yeah.
In fact, you'll notice Shauna's new helmet here matches pretty closely the blue on her bike.
Yeah.
And obviously the blue on the black bike as well.
Right.
But so other than that, I think those are really the top questions that we get. All right, so now we're going to talk about some of the things we don't particularly like about the bike. Not that they're problems, it's just personal preference for us.
Right.
There are really only three, and the first one is the brakes. Now these are mechanical disc brakes. I got to say they're kind of not so much clunky, but they're noisy.
Very noisy.
Yeah, the front, they constantly squeak, and I'm sure there's probably a fix for that. So those of you who have disc brakes, mechanical disc brakes, give us some pointers on how we can reduce the squeaking, especially on the rear brake, and help eliminate that. So the rear brake seems to be okay mechanically, other than being noisy. The front brake really feels like it's constantly grinding. I looked at the pads. The pads are fine, but it's just got a grinding feeling, sensation, noise to it. Again, those of you who have these kinds of brakes on other bikes, give us some pointers on how we might remedy that. The second thing that is not a huge dislike, just not convenient for us, and that is the panniers that come with them, if you've got that as part of the package. Yeah,
and at first we were really excited.
Yeah.
And found that they were very useful, but they had limitations.
They're large. They hold a lot of things. They have limitations. The way they strap to the rear frame is a little clunky. The biggest concern I have is, since we like to go into urban areas and get off the bikes and go and do and obviously lock those up. The panniers that come with them, they buckle and strap on to the bike rack, so they're not really easy to constantly take off and put on. They are waterproof. Again, they're cavernous. They hold a lot of stuff. We just like the idea of portability, quick portability, and those panniers don't offer that. And that's why we went with the Ortlieb removable panniers, and I'll show you those. They basically just click on, click off, and strap on, and they're totally waterproof, hold a lot of gear. So that's what we decided to upgrade to.
And they look great as well.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
And we only have one on each bike, and it's on the derailleur side, so that when you fold the bike up, the pannier is not in the way of the folding mechanism and such. So
the third item that we liked the quality of, but we didn't necessarily like the comfort, and that was the seats that the bikes came with. So one of the first things that we did, one of the very first things that we upgraded was the seat. We chose a seat by Bikeroo. We purchased that off of Amazon, and it's a bike seat that we'd had on other bicycles, so we knew it was going to be comfortable. It has made all the difference in the world in the comfort of these.
There's a lot of information out there about some problems with the bike. We haven't really had any problems with the bike, with the exception of one.
Have we been lucky? Because I've seen on the forums, I've seen people with tires that have exploded, that have gone flat. They've had problems with the steering column. They've had problems with the derailleur, and just on and on. Not to say that there's a ton of that, but people have put out there. I guess we've been lucky. I don't know.
I guess we haven't had any problems with the exception of one, and that was absolutely my fault. In the instructions, when you get the bike,
very important.
Read the instructions. Read them carefully.
Yes.
Read them front to back. Follow those instructions, and you won't have this problem or perhaps any other problems. And that is to make sure that, like it says in the instructions, check everything to make sure everything is tight. Bolts, nuts, pedals, anything that might be loose through the course of the shipment process, or have come loose or fallen off, whatever, make sure it's tight. Me and my infinite wisdom didn't do that. In our excitement to get the bikes out, get on the road that one day, and it didn't take very long for this to happen. We got the bikes out, and this was right after, you'll see the video, I'll link it to our first review video of the bike. We were out riding, shooting that review video, and I felt something weird in the left pedal, kept riding, got back to my parents' house there, and saw that the left pedal and the right, more so the left, was really loose. Too late, damage was done. What had happened, that pedal loosened up and started wallowing out the threads in the crank arm. I was able to tighten it back up, but things were just never right, and I had to replace that left crank arm, which, by the way, is the most commonly changed crank arm on any bicycle, no matter what type, dollar amount. Doesn't matter. That is the most commonly, because most people are stronger on their left side. So I took my bike into a bike shop, and that's exactly what the repair tech told me. And fortunately, they had a crank arm there, the same size, everything fit. It was like $16. Put it on for me, no charge. So, I could have waited probably to get that from Lectric, but no big deal. Exactly. It was totally my fault.
Yeah, and I've seen on the forums that this has been a problem for others as well, and it's probably, a lot of it's probably due to not having tightened those pedals down.
So follow the instructions, make sure everything's tight. If you don't check anything else on the bike, check the pedals.
Yes, absolutely. So it was an easy fix. You can also get those same crank shafts on Amazon. I've seen in the forums as well.
Yeah, lots of different places.
Yeah.
So kind of, I think, sums up likes, dislikes, any problems that we've had with the bike. I can't think of any other problems.
I can't either. The likes definitely outweigh the dislikes with this bike. We are super happy with it. I mean, just to sum that up.
If I had to add one other thing about maybe something that can be added in the future, that would be a strobe tail light, or a strobe feature on the tail light, to kind of blink. Because most lights that you buy for add-ons to most bicycles have a strobe feature. I think that would be awesome on this bike. If that could be incorporated somehow, that would certainly be a plus. The rear brake light is a little dim and inconspicuous, I suppose. It can be seen, but I think there's an opportunity there too. I did add a handlebar extension and a phone holder to my bike. The real estate on the bike handlebar is pretty limited, so I had to add an extension plus the phone holder, and so that's working really well.
Helps it really helps us with navigation.
Yeah.
So to have that phone, I mean, you would normally put it right there on your handlebars, but to have our phone, our GPS right there is super helpful, and to be able to hear it is the other thing.
So being able to hear it leads into the next super cool upgrade, I think.
Oh, this is super cool.
Yeah, so we had, as many of you know, we had in our first couple of videos, you saw the helmets we had, just kind of inexpensive standard bike helmets. So we've decided to upgrade our helmets to the Senna. This is the R1 helmet, and this is a smart bicycle helmet. Super cool. Has a control panel here. You turn this on. See if we can get a...
Hello.
Cool.
Isn't that cool? So this links to your telephone. So we talked earlier about having GPS instructions. You can hear those right now. They have a couple speakers here and a microphone up here. So you get those GPS instructions in your ears. Another cool feature is when you're zipping along on these bikes, you can't hear each other. Down to him to turn around and what's going on, right? I don't know if she's getting ready to wreck or what the deal is. These helmets have an intercom feature. So this is Shauna's, the blue, and the black is mine. All right, so I wanted to give you just a quick demo of the intercom feature here. So again, the speakers are here. The microphone is right here. And you just talk at a normal voice level, just like this. And I don't know. What do you think, Shauna?
Well, I'm wondering if you happen to see the ducks in the pond behind you.
Feature, you touch this button right here, and it connects to the other helmet. So now when I'm...
That's so cool.
When I'm 20, 30, 40 yards ahead of Shauna and the wind's blowing through my ears and I can't hear her calling or saying something from way behind me.
Like you missed that turn.
Yeah, or the turn's coming up, or what we do a lot of...
We have a car behind us.
Yeah, car behind us, or what we do a lot of, like in downtown Charleston last night when we were driving, there are so many holes and little areas where you could get caught.
Man.
I would call out to Shauna, hole on the right, hole on the left, or watch this, watch that. And we're not having to turn around and shout at each other and wonder what we're trying to communicate. Speakers are right here, which is really cool. And again, the microphone is right there. It's also an FM radio, so if you're traveling down the road, you want to tune into FM channels around you, you can do that.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, so really, really cool little helmet. A little bit pricey. I'll put the link to these.
They're a lot a bit pricey for a bike helmet, however.
They're $129 on Amazon. Again, I mean, they're top of the class in terms of safety, but it's, to me, even more so, it's this safety feature of having a communication method when you're riding along. I think that's just the coolest.
Yes, it is.
It's the coolest.
And it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
you're not shouting. You can just talk in a normal, quiet tone, and this picks it up to 900 meters. That's pretty good distance.
That's really good.
Anyway.
You know what's funny? Brian and I would consider ourselves to be fairly tech savvy.
Yeah.
We had no idea that these things even existed until we saw some other riders on their electric bike talking back and forth and thought,
we're like, what are you guys
how's that
doing?
Working? Yeah.
So they had a slightly different model.
And they're rechargeable.
Yeah, they're rechargeable. There's a port here you can recharge.
Yeah.
USB, you got a lithium battery on board.
Very cool.
And they last a long time.
Anything else on these?
Super adjustable.
Lightweight.
Lightweight, yes, of course. And lots of adjustment points. Anyway, we'll put the link in the description. I think a great purchase for anybody.
Addition, yeah. We are so happy with our purchase of these bikes. We couldn't be happier, and they've taken us to places that we wouldn't have been able to experience with our car or on foot, and that's one of the main reasons that we bought them. And it's been great exercise.
True.
That's the other thing.
Very true.
Yeah.
And to make this point again, we're not sponsored by Lectric. We're not endorsing Lectric, although this could be considered as an endorsement because we do like the bikes.
Yes.
We're not paid by anyone to do these. We purchased these bikes on our own. We paid the full $899 each.
Yes.
We paid the full $129 each for these. We pay for everything that we have on our bikes. We're not provided anything by anyone, and we get that in the comments on occasion. You guys, you got those for free. You're not being honest. That couldn't be the furthest from the truth.
Right.
Everything we have paid for out of our pocket. We've talked about things we like, things we don't like, the problems that we've had with the bike. Totally 100% my fault. and some of the upgrades, let us know in the comments below, what your dislikes are. If you own the bike, what you don't like, what you do like.
We'd also love to hear where you've actually taken the bikes.
Yes. And shoot us an email. We'll have all that information in our description of the video. Shoot us an email or a picture or something where you've taken your bike, some of the cool and interesting spots you've been able to go to as a result of having these. And I think more importantly, what have they done for you in terms of changing your life?
Yeah.
We have heard a couple of people that have been somewhat disabled that that enjoy getting on this bike and going because they don't have to exert as much as they once had to on a normal bike. So that's a cool thing.
That's awesome.
If that's you, let us know that. It'd be awesome.
Fun. And let us know any great modifications or upgrades that you found that we haven't considered.
Absolutely.
We'd love to know about it.
So it is sweltering out here, and we're going to wrap this up. So until next time.
We'll see ya.